Somewhere in the last few weeks, you've felt it start. Schedules filling back in, everyone else's needs stacking back up. That looser, slower version of your summer already starting to disappear. And here's what nobody tells you about this moment. You're not going to decide to put yourself last again. You're not going to sit down and choose it. It's going to happen quietly. One full calendar, one skipped walk, one I'll get to it once things calm down at a time. And once things calm down is never actually coming. You already know it. You've watched it not come before. This video is about naming that pattern before it runs the show again and giving you real tools to interrupt it, not just good intentions. Quick, but important before we go further, I'm Dr. Carrie Barron, board certified doctor of natural medicine and certified natural health practitioner. I'm not a medical doctor. I do not diagnose, treat, or cure disease. Everything I share here is for educational purposes only and isn't a substitute for working with your own healthcare provider. Okay, let's go. Here's why this particular stretch of the year is so dangerous for you. It doesn't look like neglect. It looks like responsibility. Kids back to routines, work picking back up, a calendar that was breathing for a few weeks suddenly isn't. And somewhere in the middle of managing all of it, you become the one thing on the list that's allowed to slide. Not because you decided you don't matter, because nobody ever put a name on what was happening. So it just felt like being a good mom, a good employee, a good friend, good whatever role you're carrying, responsible, not neglectful. But here's the truth underneath it. A pattern doesn't have to look dramatic to be doing damage. It just has to repeat quietly for long enough. I know this pattern for 12 years. I let stress become my normal instead of naming it as a problem. I've told that story in detail in last week's video, so I won't repeat it all here. What I want you to take from this is it wasn't one bad decision. It was 12 years of small ones, each one so quiet on its own that I never stopped to question it. That's what makes this pattern so easy to miss in your own life too. It's not asking you for a dramatic sacrifice. It's asking for one small thing today and tomorrow and the day after that until it's not a season anymore. It's just who you've become. Here's why just deciding I'll do better this fall won't be enough on its own. Willpower is a finite resource, and this time of year taxes it harder than almost any other. You are not weak for running out of it. You are human. You are carrying a full calendar with an empty tank. What actually holds isn't more willpower, it's structure. Something outside your own daily motivation that keeps the commitment standing even on the days you don't feel like keeping it. Matthew 11 says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." That's not a suggestion to try harder. That's an invitation to stop carrying it entirely alone. Rest was never meant to be something you white knuckle your way into. Not more willpower, more rhythm. Devotional time the moment you wake up, then a walk afterwards. Word before world every single day. I'll be honest with you about this one. This morning, it was already 91 degrees at 5:45 when I went out for my walk. Every part of me wanted to skip it, but rhythm doesn't get to be conditional on comfort. The days you least want to keep it are usually the days you need it most. So I went anyway. Keep your schedule consistent. Keep your eating times consistent. Your body isn't looking for perfection. It's looking for a pattern it can actually trust. Get sunshine first thing in the morning. That early reddish light tells your brain to shut off melatonin production and start the day. And get sunshine again at sunset because the same kind of light in the evening tells your body it's safe to start making melatonin again for the night ahead. If you need it, rest 20 minutes in the afternoon. It's not a failure, it's not laziness, it's maintenance. And if your shoulders are up around your ears by 3, which happens to almost everyone this time of year, pair that rest with 10 minutes of feet up the wall. It was in last week's video. Here's the reframe I want you to sit with. A schedule isn't limiting. A schedule is empowering. It's you telling your body in a language it actually understands that you are on its side, not just reacting to whatever the day throws at you. Here's the piece I don't want you to miss. Your emotional and spiritual rhythms need the same consistency because that's actually where peace comes from. Joy, confidence, Not me managing my day by sheer effort, but keeping my focus on God to work out what I can't fix myself. Part of my own process this year was a defined 4-week season, not something I do every day, a set I move through once. It combined 3 homeopathic remedies together: mental detox and drainage, emotional detox and drainage, and something called multiple miasm, working on the inherited ancestral patterns living underneath symptoms. Together, these 3 created what I'd call a mental and emotional reset, not managing what was sitting on top anymore, actually getting down to the root. And that reset is what gave me the capacity to deal with challenges now: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, so much more easily than before. I mean that plainly. Without that short 4-week season, my life would not look like it does today. This season brought some things to surface I hadn't fully looked at, beliefs I didn't even know I was carrying, and it let me actually process them instead of carrying them quietly the way I had been for years. Here's what's different now. That foundational layer is clear. Mental and emotional challenges still show up. That doesn't go away, but I can actually address them in the moment now instead of getting buried under a backlog I never dealt with. The physical rhythm I just walked you through and the spiritual practices underneath it work together now because there isn't a backlog underneath them anymore either. That's the order that actually works. Clear the root first, then the daily rhythm, physical, emotional, spiritual, has something solid to stand on. Together, they orchestrate the same thing: peace, calm, a nervous system that isn't constantly on alert. And that peace is exactly what supports a body too. I want to tell you about a client of mine because it shows exactly what's possible when the whole picture finally gets looked at. She's closing in on 70. She's worked with a naturopathic practitioner, other than me, for over 12 years before she came to see me. At that time, her thyroid got managed. 12 years and nothing else was ever addressed, really. Then a rash showed up. Dermatologist, her doctor, tests that came back baffling everyone in the room. Her longtime practitioner didn't have an answer for it either. She came to me. We ran the root cause landscape blood test. Her score came back as 38. Genuinely good for what she's carrying, especially for her age. But it showed us exactly what 12 years of care had never gone looking for: high plastic exposure, mold, and fungal markers. We got to work clearing what we could see. 2 months later, the rash is completely gone. Her sleep is dramatically better. She put her screens away at night almost entirely. Her constipation is resolving because, in her words, she's finally letting her body do its own thing instead of forcing it. Here's what she told me when I asked what she'd say to someone considering this kind of work. It's so different than going to a traditional doctor and having them not hear a word you're saying. You never get anywhere. I've been working with a naturopath for at least 12 years. She kept my thyroid at bay, but that's about it. I was dealing with her when this rash came about, and she didn't have a response for it. You've got to give it a chance if you're not feeling well. Whatever area it is, I trust Carrie is going to find it and help you. 12 years with one piece managed. 2 months, and the whole picture finally getting looked at and addressed. That's what the root cause landscape is built to do: show you the big picture of what's blocking your health, not just one piece someone happened to be watching. It's the same principle behind the 4-week mental and emotional reset I just told you about. We don't get anywhere managing what's sitting on top. We have to get down to the actual root for what the body is facing and clear it, so all the parts can work together the way they were designed to: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, one whole person, not 4 separate problems competing for attention. The root cause landscape is how we find the root on the physical side. 6 markers, 1 overall score from 1 to 100. The lower the overall score, the more resilient the body is. A great marker of longevity. It's not looking for a disease to diagnose. It's showing us where your body is already compensating right now before another year of, once things calm down, goes by without you knowing what's actually in the way. And if we look at those tests and we find we need to do more advanced testing, that's an option too. You don't have to wait 12 years to find out the way my client did, the way I did. One more thing quickly, because I know some of you are already connecting this to what I shared last week. Part of what I walked through in my own story was that 4-week reset. mental detox and drainage, emotional detox and drainage, and multiple miasm homeopathics done together, addressing the emotional and ancestral first before anything metabolic. If that part of it resonates with you, there's an interest list open right now for my mind body prep for GLP Forte. No commitment and no requirement to ever do a program with me. Just a way to learn more and see if it's actually a fit for you before you decide anything. You are not going to accidentally stumble into a fall where you actually take care of yourself. It has to be on purpose, or the pattern wins by default, quietly, the way it always has. Ecclesiastes 3 says there is a time for everything under heaven, a time to plant, a time to break down, a time to heal. Seasons aren't random, they're designed, and healing has always been one of them. So here's my question for you. Why not start that healing season now? Not once things calm down, not in January, now, on purpose, instead of waiting for permission that is never going to arrive on its own. It's $99 and it shows us what's actually in the way instead of guessing. The link is below. If you want to understand it before you commit, I host free live open houses, small group, real questions. That link is below too. And if any part of the emotional layer sounded like your story, get on the interest list for the mind body prep for GLP Forte. No pressure, just information. So you can decide with your eyes open instead of waiting for another 12 years to look at it. You don't have to disappear this season. God designed your body to heal. He designed you to thrive, not just survive one more fall. Let this be a season you actually let Him. I'll see you next week.